I'm Sarah Passel. I live at 25 Ridge Road in Danbury, and I'm not a teacher. I'm not an educator. My children are grown. They did spend time in the public schools in Danbury, and they got something out of it. I'm a taxpayer. I don't have a lot of money. My family doesn't take vacations. We've stopped going out to eat. But I don't understand how those of you who are willing to endorse the budget as Mayor Boughton has proposed it can have anything but shame for doing what you're doing to the students and the children of Danbury. Don't you care about your property values? Don't you care about the reputation of Danbury schools? I'm not asking you to fully fund or fund at this percentage or that percentage, but 1.6% raise from city funds alone. I think I did the math correctly today. 1.6%, that's the best we can do? Is that really the best we can do? Don't you? I just don't understand it. You don't have to do exactly what the mayor says. You can vote for more money for the schools. I would suggest a tiny amount, because it would bring us up to turns out an arbitrary figure of 2.5%, which is arbitrary because there is no state law limiting the increase in school budgets. That state law applies only to municipal budgets. I did that research again today too. If you were going to bring it up to at least a 2.5% increase to help put some aides back in the classroom, to get the numbers. My children relied tremendously, and they both went on to good college educations, but they needed those counselors' help. If you would just get that down from 400 students or 300 students per counselor to 150 a counselor, let's add $1 million minimum to this budget, minimum, to what the mayor is offering from city tax revenues. And then you'd at least be at this 2.5% that I was told last year was the maximum we could grant, which I no longer believe to be true. Surely, even if you resent paying for somebody else's kids, you want to be proud of your city, you want to be proud of your schools. I've got nothing left except my tax money. I don't have kids in the schools. I'm not getting a pension. I get no pension. I'm relying on 401ks. I got nothing to gain from raising my taxes, but I'd rather you do that, a modest amount, to show that you are committed to your community, that you're committed to the schools, that you're doing what you think people can do. So basically, I'm endorsing everybody who spoke here tonight, their arguments that at least I'm not part of the school administration, and I'm just a taxpayer. So please, I have neighbors here, I have friends here, I have other colleagues here. Please, give it some thought. Don't just think of it as somebody else's children. Think of it as your city.
Council, I speak to you not as one of you, as a resident or taxpayer. My name is Andrew Wetmore. I reside at 36 Ridge Road in Danbury. I am a proud father of 3 who will be going through Danbury Public Schools. I'm a lifelong resident of Danbury. Danbury Public Schools, Western Connecticut State University, on a full-ride scholarship, very much next to the Danbury Rotary Club. I love the city more than anything I can say. I hold a master's degree in public administration. I'm a member of the 4 Cs State Union, working in higher education on behalf of the state of Connecticut. There's nothing I value more than the education of the young people that go through our public schools and in this city. And in my 8 years on this board and over a decade in public service, I have never been more disappointed in the name calling and ridicule of those saying that I, as a member of this council, do not care about the people of this city. I don't care about our students. Every day I wake up and I talk to my wife, one of your educators, and hear about the problems in our district. And yet, I come here tonight and say, I don't care. Or that a party that I am affiliated with doesn't care. By the way, Ronald Reagan instituted... Oh, this is absolutely germane, Mr. Governor. Doesn't matter what party you're in. Ronald Reagan instituted a fee on students because of the burden that it was on local taxpayers in the state of California. Our taxpayers here, and the reason you don't have to worry about voting me out of office in November is because I cannot afford to continue to serve on this committee because I cannot afford to live here. And while I am not moving, I have to pick up a second job. While my wife is one of your teachers who does make above average in salary, which is still far lower than you deserve. But we are the ones getting blamed for it. The residents of the taxpayer are not your enemy. I am not your enemy. But if you want to come here, and all of us, you want us to fight next to you, and you want us to go to Hartford with all of you, don't make us your enemy. Every day I watch my wife come home after a hard day's work, pick up our 3 kids while I'm still working, and hear about the difficulties in our schools. But our taxpayers are not the enemy, and they are not the burden. They should not be burdened any further, and I will not vote to continue to take up what Hartford has failed to do. I don't care how hard our state reps are doing. I don't care how hard our lobbyists are working. It is not the Lindwallers of this world's fault that they are getting burdened. It is not our students, and there is plenty that we can do in our schools that the Board of Ed and Dr. Sal need to look to evaluate that better value where our dollars are going within our schools. When I hear about professional development trips to Toronto, but my wife cannot get proper lab equipment, that is a problem. Those are the issues that I face day in and day out, and I have to come here and also go home and tell my wife, I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. We are doing everything we can so that we can afford to live in this city, and you can still have what you need to teach the students in this school system. I am proud. I fight every day to try and figure it out. And I'm sorry that this is very unorthodox, but I cannot possibly leave this term after almost a decade in service to this city by taking this abuse day in and day out. I will continue to serve long after this, but I need to make more money so I can afford to live here and I can pay my taxes here. Thank you to all the teachers and the council for indulging me. And I absolutely loved how many people actually came out, because this is what I did my master's dissertation on, people that don't know the elements. Thank you very much.
Anybody else wish to address the council on item number 1?